Thank you for watching. This is Barry Brown, author of the Amazon bestseller, The Student Athlete Playbook, and this is the Student Athlete Playbook segment of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. To my right is my man, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. How you doing today, brother?
How you doing today, Mr. Brown?
I'm doing outstanding.
Yes, sir.
So, like we always do, we bring you some of the top high school football players from across the country, and we highlight them. And today we're highlighting 5 top student athletes that play the sport of football for the Student Athlete Playbook segment. You ready to get started today?
Yes, sir. Let's talk about these 5 young men across the country.
Yes, sir. Well, we're going to start off with Nolan Smith. You're talking about a 6'3", 232-pound defensive end from Savannah, Georgia, that plays at the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Now, when you watch this young man on film, you will see explosiveness off the line. His speed and power is what makes him considered the number 2 defensive end in the country, right behind Mr. Thibodeau, Kayvon Thibodeau, out there in California. Now, everybody is after Mr. Nolan Smith. UGA, Florida State, and Clemson are going hard after Mr. Smith.
Well, when you look at Mr. Smith, and I'll go back old school ways, Nolan Smith reminds me of that gentleman that played at Alabama back in the late 70s, E.J. Jr.
Ooh.
That was a highly recruit
Yes.
out of Nashville, Tennessee. Remember him?
I
He was
do.
part of that 79-80 national championship squad.
Yes.
Then when you look at Nolan Smith, his strength, his tenacity, I'm going to take you a little closer. 2004, 2005. He got a little hard like David Pollock.
Ooh.
Some of the type of that skill in him.
Yes. On tape, this young man comes off the ball very, very well. He's not a big guy yet. They're going to put some weight on him in college. But right now, he's an unstoppable high school defensive end. That's Nolan Smith.
And then he got a little speed. I'm going to end it with this. I'm going to go old school. Remember that gentleman's out of Natchez, Mississippi, Hugh Green, that went to Pitt?
That went to Pitt, yes.
Mr. Smith reminds me of all 3 of those players tied in one knot.
No doubt. Now, that's a very high compliment because Hugh Green was a top contender to win the Heisman as a defensive player.
Yes,
so that's
sir.
high regards for a young man, Nolan Smith. So good luck to you, young man. Now, we're going to go to one of my favorite positions because this is the position I played in high school and in college.
Sir.
Shout out to the Presbyterian College Blue Hose. Derek Stingley.
Yes, sir.
Cornerback from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And let me get his high school correct. I think that's the Dunham School. D-U-N-H-A-M, Dunham School. 6 foot, 193 pounds.
Good size.
4'3", 40, Mr. Football.
Good size.
And this kid on film breaks on the ball very well. And, man, he gets his hands on almost every ball. And that's why he's considered the number 1 cornerback coming out in the class of 2019.
Well, if you look at this gentleman who reminds me, and I'm going to keep it old school today, size is excellent, 6'1", 190 pounds. Remember the guy that played at Grambling, came out of the 82, 83 draft, Mr. Albert Lewis, played with the Kansas City Chiefs. Similar skill set. Then if you want to go maybe up the ladder a little bit, he's got a little Deion Sanders in him from a cover standpoint.
He does.
And then he's got a little physicality with Deion's partner that played on the other side with him in college, Leroy Butler.
And, you know, Deion, I patted my home game after Deion Sanders. So when you start talking about Leroy Butler,
yes,
Deion Sanders, young man, Mr. Stingley, if you get compared to these kind of guys, hey, you have a bright future. And listen, he's a hard LSU commit. So LSU is I'm talking about licking their lips to get their hands on this young man right here.
And a lot of people are saying if he commits to LSU, he's going to be a better prospect than Patrick Peterson, who's now considered the top corner in the game in the NFL.
That's right. Derek Stingley, good luck to you, young man. Now, this is not the young man from Boys to Men, the great all-time singing group, but his name is very similar. Wanya Morris. 6'5", and I don't think Wanya from Boys to Men is that big. 6'5", 300-pound offensive tackle from Loganville, Georgia. He plays at the mighty powerhouse school, Grayson High School.
Yes, sir.
And on film, this young man looks like a great athlete at the offensive tackle position. And listen, this young man has the ability to grow into a very good tackle at the college level. And you'll love this, Mr. Football, because you're from Memphis, Tennessee. You're a big Tennessee Vols fan. He is considered to be a Tennessee commit. What do you think about that?
Well, when you look at him going to the University of Tennessee, he puts me in the mind of two big tackles that came out of the '91 draft. Remember Antoine Davis, that was from Fort Valley, Georgia?
Yes.
And Charles McCray, who was a local guy out of Powell, Tennessee. Reminds me of both of those guys. Those guys were bookend tackles. Mr. Morris has the same similar skill set. He's the guy that's going to be able to play very early at the University of Tennessee because they're going to need help.
They definitely need help. But listen, Tennessee, Auburn is still in the hunt. So, hey, those War Eagles might try to steal Mr. Morris from you. But now, let's move on out west. Spencer Rattler. I love this young man's name. I thought he would be a defensive back or a linebacker or something like that. But this young man is a quarterback. 6'1", 181 pounds. Quarterback from Phoenix, Arizona. Pinnacle High School. Now check out these stats. Last year as a junior, he passed for 4,000 yards, 45 touchdowns on 246 completions on 379 attempts, man. This kid can sling the ball around. And for his career, Mr. Rattler has passed for over 9,000 yards and 93 touchdowns. This kid has one more year remaining, and he's going to continue to break some records out there in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, he was an All-American quarterback last year, second team behind J.T. Daniels, who's out there competing for a starting job at USC.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think about Mr. Rattler?
I know right now that Oklahoma seemingly has an inside track. If he goes to Oklahoma, just think about it. He's 6'1", 183 pounds. They just lost a guy who's the #1 pick in the NFL draft, who's right now fighting with a job. Hard knocks, congratulations. You having the Cleveland Browns as your team. Similar skill set to Baker Mayfield, a bigger guy, can definitely seam the rock. But if you talk about this guy and going back, if he commits to Oklahoma, reminds me of Jack Mildred, who played in the early '70s for the University of Oklahoma. Can do it all, run, throw, the whole 9 yards. He has a total package.
He does. He really does. I'm excited to see what he does when he commits to whoever he finally signs with his letter of intent to go to school. Mr. Rattler, looking forward to seeing you slinging that ball around at the college level, young man. And Pierce Quick. Now, I don't know how Alabama produces all these big linemen, the state of Alabama, but this young man is 6'5", 285 pounds from Trussville, Alabama. He's an offensive tackle. He goes to Hewitt Trussville High School. Now, this kid is a raw talent. But if he develops properly, he could end up being another great offensive lineman for Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. They say he's a hard commit to the Crimson Tide, so if they get another big body like this, and those coaches get in there and work, because Nick Saban has some of the best assistant coaches, and I don't know where he keeps finding all these guys, because he loses coaches every year. But hey, if they get this kid ready to play, he could be another one of the top recruits in the whole state of Alabama.
Well, I'm going to answer that question, your first question you just asked. When you
Yes,
win
sir.
like 5 national championships in 9 years and you top of the mountain, everybody wants to be top of the mountain. They want to be with a winner.
That's
But Mr. Quick reminds me a lot of the guy they had a couple of years ago, Andre Smith, who came out of Birmingham that played offensive tackle for Alabama. Then, if you want to put a skill set, not only to Mr. Andre Smith, think about Cam Robinson. Right now, they're starting for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's right.
He's going to a program. If he stay committed to Alabama, we already know what they produce. First rounders. They've had the most players drafted, in the last 5 years. I think a number of like 53 players, and it don't look like the Alabama's slowing down anytime soon.
That's true. So listen, these are our top 5 cats that we're talking about. These student athletes are some of the guys that you will see playing on Saturdays after 2019, in the fall of 2019. So listen, if you like what we're talking about, like the page, comment on the page, and share the page. Nolan Smith, Derek Stingley, Wanya Morris, Spencer Rattler, Pierce Quick, we salute you. Top student athletes playing the sport of football, and we are the Student Athlete Playbook team here with 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk.